Take a step back. Before your parents, before your grandparents, before your great-grandparents, before the coal mines, Owen Glyndŵr, the princes, back to the Iron Age, 2,300 years ago, before cars, trains, planes, Xboxes and iPhones, when bread didn't come from Tesco's. How did people live, our ancestors, in this Welsh landscape? We can walk the same lands they did, and dig for what they left behind, but how do we fill in the gaps? Harvesting the Past seeks to answer these questions by living as these people lived, growing the food they might have eaten, foraging for materials they may have found around them, building the structures they used and lived in, and much more. This Heritage Lottery Fund Young Roots project was officially launched in September 2010 with the support of local MP Ian Lucas and Karen Teasdale of Wrexham Museum. With the first ground broken that day, it was only a matter of weeks before the first seeds went into the ground, in 3 prepared raised beds. But these seeds are very different from those Grandad grows in his allotment. With help from Butser Ancient Farm, we acquired varieties of ancient crops similar to those that would have been grown in the Iron Age. Among them, as well as ancient root vegetables, peas and beans, we grew ancient varieties of barley as well as spelt, emmer and einkorn wheat. Different soil types are better for different plants. One of the key aims of the project is to identify what grows well and what doesn't, to give us an idea of the diet of Iron Age North Wales. By making careful charts weekly of the growing heights of the different crops, we can assess crop yields. Come autumn comes harvest, an important activity in all ancient cultures. Harvesting was a matter of life and death. The gathering and collating of the year's labours left us with substantial harvests of grain, root vegetables, beans and peas, collected at different times over the seasons, from the green harvests of late summer to the grain collections of early autumn. Harvesting taught us a lot about what we had grown and tended over the year. The vegetables are collected and chopped to form nutritious broths and stews for the cold winter season, providing crucial energy and vitamins to replace the availability of fresh fruits and berries through the cold month. These people were not entirely vegetarian though by any means, and would have had no qualms about using the wild animals around them as a source of much needed protein in their activity-filled lives. For this reason, animals in the local area were surveyed and watched to see what lived locally in the past. From rabbits to deer, beetles and birds, the local wildlife was varied and fascinating, and would have provided much more interest than people would usually consider. So with this bounteous yield, how do we store and contain our hard work to see us through the winter? Pottery making was a crucial skill in Iron Age Britain, critical in keeping crops fresh and safe to eat before the advent of preservatives. To try to master these skills, we constructed one of the earliest forms of kiln found in Britain, a late Iron Age Romano-British updraft kiln, based on excavated examples. We built a porous floor and clay dome and fired handmade pots, used to gather and store our produce. But where to store these gathered crops? For this, a new skill was required. We decided to construct a raised timber granary using traditional methods in order to house our harvest. Using timber beams and traditional woodworking, we set in place 4 posts with a hut structure above to act as storage space before creating a thatched roof to guard the produce from animals, rain and wind. So, the harvests are in, and the beds are prepared for planting up for the new season's crops. So 1 year on, what have we learned from our experiments? Firstly, Iron Age life was hard, in fact very hard work. Long days of practically non-stop tending are required for a truly successful harvest, even on a small scale. Secondly, life was far more interesting and varied than people usually consider, with a much more intriguing diet and diary of activities that all members of the community, young or old, could be involved in. But just as in the Iron Age, every season brings new challenges, and we are determined for this to be the case in the Harvesting the Past project. Plans are underway for using the knowledge of crop growth we obtained this year to pick the most successful crops and plant them on a much larger scale to create a full harvest yield. This will involve the new challenge of ploughing and building equipment to do so. We also intend to build a new stone roundhouse to help us understand the new building techniques coming into use in the Iron Age. All the young members of this project have come away with crucial life skills, from building and growing to simple skills such as teamwork and project management. We have truly harvested the past to sustain the future. See you all at the next harvest.